Today we're going to make a really easy and healthy ketogenic snack. This is a Spanish Gazpacho. Gazpacho is a classic cold soup that they serve in Spain, particularly in the summer. In Madrid there's a restaurant, it's actually a candy store with an above restaurant called Lardi, and Lardi is known to make one of the best gazpachos in Madrid. We are going to make a gazpacho here. We are not going to use bread in it. Sometimes they use bread in it to thicken it. We are not going to do that because we're going to make this ketogenic. What you do is you start out with a whole cucumber. Now we pre-peeled this, but you don't have to peel it. Some recipes call for it peeled and seeded. We just throw the whole thing in, because I like the taste of the cucumber, and I don't care about the seeds because we're going to strain it out afterwards anyway. You want a clove of garlic, and with garlic, if you take a look at your garlic, you'll see in the center is they call it a sperm of the garlic, and you basically take that out because this is bitter and you don't want the bitter part of the garlic. So you take that out. You also use an Anaheim pepper. You can use other peppers. You don't want a spicy pepper in this. Anaheims are not spicy. They have a good, strong, solid flavor. Now you want to take this pepper, cut it in half for this recipe. Cut that in half because you want to remove the seeds. Now usually the seeds are up at the top end. You're not going to get a lot of seeds down here, but there are a couple. You want to remove the seeds. You want to remove the ribs because these are the bitter parts of the pepper. You get rid of that. Okay, chop this small. This is going into the blender. The cucumber, you're also going to chop in about quarters because this is also going in the blender. I told you this was an easy dish. You want to get about 1.5 pounds of grape tomatoes. You can use any kind of tomatoes in this, but Spanish tomatoes are really sweet. In the US, our tomatoes aren't that sweet. Also, a lot of tomatoes are refrigerated. When you refrigerate a grape, or when you refrigerate a tomato, you ruin the flavor of it. There's a chemical inside the tomato that refrigeration destroys, and once you refrigerate it, you'll never get that flavor back. So if possible, you get it at a farmer's market, you grow it yourself, or you get it from someplace that doesn't refrigerate their tomatoes. I like to use grape tomatoes because they're the sweetest American tomatoes I can find. So we're going to use 1.5 pounds of grape tomatoes, 1 cucumber, 1 clove of garlic, half an Anaheim pepper. Let's go ahead and assemble it. Okay, so assembly is simple. Dump the tomatoes in your blender. Add a 1/2 cup of olive oil, preferably Spanish olive oil. Spanish olive oil has a particular flavor that you're not going to get otherwise. You also want 1/2 of a red onion or a sweet onion, and you want 1/2 of a small red onion or sweet onion. Put in your cucumber and your pepper. Turn your blender on slow and gradually speed it up. Put in a tablespoon of sherry vinegar after that. And if you can't find sherry vinegar, virtually any vinegar will do. Some people use lime juice as well. You just want something with a little tang to it. I like the cherry vinegar, it adds a nice flavor to it. Okay, you take it from the blender and you process it in small amounts. Use a spatula to push it through a sieve of some type. And basically this is classic in a traditional gazpacho. It makes it smooth. You don't have to do it. You can skip this step if you want, but basically this is what you need for a classic gazpacho. And there will be little bits and pieces from the blender left over in your sieve when you're done doing this, but this makes a lot of sense to do it this way. So this is what it's going to look like after you're done straining. The one final step, and this is optional, is throw in a couple of dashes of cumin. Mix that all in. At this point you can taste to see whether you should adjust anything. That's perfect. Now you want to take this, cover it, put it in the refrigerator. Gazpacho is delicious cold. It wouldn't really be that good hot, and it would be really yucky if it was lukewarm. So definitely put it in the refrigerator and let it get cold, and then you'll have yourself a nice ketogenic snack. It's been about 2 hours. I've left the soup in the refrigerator. Now I've brought it out. I poured a bowl for myself. Traditionally, they serve it with stuff on top. We picked some diced up cucumber. Also, we cut up some of the tomatoes and we've added them to the top as well. Then we took some cubed up Spanish jamon. Jamon is really difficult to get in the US. You can get it, but it's not the same thing as what you'll get in Spain. It's really good. If you've never tried it, you should. And the best way to do it is to go to Spain and try it there. And this ham that we got is called bellota, which is the finest ham. Spanish ham are made up of pigs that are fed exclusively on black acorns, or at least that's the bellota ham. Other pigs are fed differently, but this ham is really good. There's nothing else that tastes like it. Almost as good as Italian prosciutto, but Italian prosciutto is not quite as good. Anyway, this is now a finished bowl of gazpacho, and I will taste it. Now the quality all depends on the quality of the ingredients. How it tastes, you will determine one way or another whether you love it or hate it. Gazpacho is a unique flavor. If the vegetables are all fresh, they should be good. The soup should be just slightly sweet from the tomatoes. It should have a nice grassy taste from the cucumbers and everything else. And then the proof is in the eating. That is great on a nice hot summer day.